I'd like to, if I can, tell you an old Celtic story, and we'll see how well this goes. It's not very well known, but this is the story of Dierdre. So one day there was this man, and his name was Malcolm, and he had a very lovely wife, but he had no children. And if you know anything about Ireland in those days, having no children is a big problem. And so one day, a man came to Malcolm, and he was a man who was reported to see things that other people didn't see. He was a soothsayer. And he told Malcolm that he was going to have a daughter. His daughter's name was going to be Dierdre. But on Dierdre's account, 3 brave young men were going to die. And the most blood that had ever been lost in any battle in all of Ireland was going to happen on her account. So Malcolm's wife became pregnant. And like any sensible man, Malcolm had a plan. And his plan was to go out to the middle of the wilderness, take a hill and dig out the center of the hill, and hide the baby away so that nobody would ever find her, and so no man would ever see her, so that no blood would be spilled on her account. And this worked out well for a while until Dierdre became a teenager. And a young hunter got lost as he wandered the hills, and he caught a glimpse of her. And Dierdre at this time was the most beautiful woman that Ireland had ever seen. So the young hunter went back. He went back to the people, and he told the King of Ireland that the most beautiful woman in all of Ireland was living in a hill with her father and her mother. And the king was a selfish man, and he decided that he must have this woman, the most beautiful woman, all to himself. So he sent men, and they brought her, and they took her to him, and he loved her so much upon seeing her beauty that he wanted to marry her right away, in that very moment. She declined, and she said, "King, give me a year. Give me a year to go back with my father and with my mother." And the king agreed. And as the year drew to a close, something happened. 3 young men came along. And the name of the one was Neowis. And Dierdre saw him from afar off and loved him. Love at first sight. So Neowis took her away, took her over to Scotland, and hid from the king for years. One day the king heard where they were, and he devised this very cunning plan, and he decided that he was going to have a feast. And he was going to invite all the Irish expatriates to come back to Ireland for a celebration. Dierdre was a very astute woman, and she knew what was going on. But the king really had a plan. brothers who lived with them. And she begged him not to go, but Naois was a proud man, and he decided that he had to go. When he arrived, the king demanded that he give him Dierdre, and he refused. And he called all of his kinsmen, and there was a great battle between the kinsmen of Naois and all the king's army. Naois and all of his brothers were killed. And the king, rather than show any remorse that all of the men of Naois were dead, ingloriously put them in the ground in a large pit all together. But Dierdre protested, and because the king still loved her, he agreed to put Naois and his brothers separately. And Dierdre wept over their grave. And nobody knows what happened to her. But they do know that a tree grew where Naois was buried. And a neighboring tree grew where the earth had been disturbed a couple feet away. And the branches of these trees twined together, and now the king knew that Dierdre had been buried there. And that even in death, her love for Naois was still true. In his anger, he demanded all the trees be chopped down. 3 days later, they were back. So the king demanded to be chopped down again and burned. But they came back. Those trees still stand today as a testament to the love of Dierdre and Naois.